They say life goes by in a blink of an eye, and it's hard to imagine that I've finally reached the end of my 20 years of education. Today, I graduate from college, and just like every other stage of my life, the good old memories will slowly fade away with time as I grow older. University in particular has made such a huge impact on my life, and before I leave this chapter behind, let's relive it all one final time. It doesn't seem like too long ago when I found out I was going to my dream school, the National University of Singapore. When I first entered university, I honestly wasn't in a very good state of mind. You see, for Singaporean guys like me, we have to serve 2 years in the army before university, and I was a pretty rebellious kid, throwing a lot of house parties, doing crazy stuff, and generally feeling very lost in life. I was also going through some personal problems and was really anxious about making new friends in college. But before I knew it, orientations began. I had so much fun, met so many new friends, joined the business school pageant, and even won the title of Biz Prince. And I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty good start to university. While training for the pageant, I also fell in love with gymming, which had become the most fundamental form of personal development for me. Oh yeah, I also met this pretty girl on my first day of orientations, who I ended up chasing, and she eventually became my girlfriend. Freshman year was overwhelming. Nothing had changed, and I was still partying almost every week, and I was pretty much still a very attention-seeking monkey in class. They say in university you can only choose 2 out of 3 things: good grades, social life, or sleep. As you'd probably guess, I didn't do pretty well for my first semester, and it really sucked. It somehow felt like all of my peers in school had gotten their whole life together, and there I was, feeling helpless and overwhelmed with everything that was going on. After realizing that there was no point crying over spilled milk, I applied for an internship at a local startup and played the role as a marketing analyst. I learned a ton of new skills like running Facebook ad campaigns and managed to convert many downloads to the app. By a stroke of luck, a local skincare brand had seen my works and reached out to me to direct a commercial for them. Now here's where my life story gets interesting. Not too long ago, my childhood friend Mohobos and my new sworn brother Chris had just founded a video production company, Parallax Collective, and I reached out to them for help with this video shoot. The video ended up being quite an epic success, and I ended up joining Parallax as a business partner and full-time producer. This was one of the most pivotal moments of my life. Aside from juggling school, I got to spend every single day working on growing the business with my 2 extremely talented partners. Chris was also a uni student like I was, and Ming had founded the company even before he went to serve in the army. So really, Parallax Collective back then was ran by a bunch of kids. We had no idea what we were doing, but we were doing it. Fast forward to the end of my second year of university, it was safe to say that our hard work had paid off. We had gotten the lease for our very first office, and we had managed to grow quite a strong clientele and a collective of amazing creatives. Not only was business picking up for Parallax, I was getting better at studying in school. I eventually made it to the Dean's List by the end of my second year in college, which landed me into the top 5% of the cohort. That made my dad really proud as well, and I was really happy. I can safely say that 2019 was the best year of my life because I also posted my very first YouTube video, changing the trajectory of my life forever. What's up guys, Daniel Tamago here. I'm about to start my new YouTube channel. As a final cherry on top, I went for my student exchange program at the end of 2019 to Stockholm University. And till this date, study abroad still feels like a dream that never happened. A good friend of mine had once told me that luck is a sine curve, which is a nerdy way of saying that if life is going too well for you, then you best be prepared for some rough times ahead. Now, what happened to me at the end of 2019 is pretty unexplainable, but during the height of my study abroad, I got hit with a severe sickness that lasted for more than a month. I think it was a combination of drastic changes in weather, homesickness, stress, and ultimately fatigue from working so hard during my first 2 years of university. In hindsight, I realized it was kind of a way for God to tell me to take a chill pill and learn to stop and smell the roses once in a while. It was truly the break I needed to rest and recharge for the next half of uni. We finally returned back to Singapore for my third year of university. I had returned with a newfound perspective of life and things were going great. But if there was one word to describe what it felt like to be back, the word would be stagnant. I started to ponder hard on the hardest question of life, figuring what to do with the rest of it. By that time, most of my friends had already secured high-paying jobs at big firms, some of their salaries even in the 5 figures range. And there I was, still unsure of what I wanted to work as after graduation. Despite feeling lost, one thing's for sure, there was a deep inner voice telling me to step out of the box and take the path less traveled. So, I did what any other rational thinking person would do. I continued making YouTube videos. And the more videos I made, the more I fell in love. I got to film an interview with the CEO of a really large bank and even managed to convince my dean to do a TikTok dance. Then, the pandemic hit. I posted a body transformation video that completely exploded, got featured on Lad Bible, and propelled my channel to my very first 10,000 subscribers. Seeing all of the supportive comments and building a strong community was literally one of the most fulfilling things I have ever experienced. And for the first time in my life, I felt that I had finally found something I did decently well, making vlogs. Year 4 of university finally came around and I decided to work my ass off and start a weekly vlog. My final year of university. You guys already know how it went down.
Feeling down, keep your head up. Depression got a hold of me, and I don't wanna get up. Got a hunger deep inside of me, and now I'm getting fed up. I ain't talking about the money, I don't need to get the bread up. Talk about your pen game, talk about your passion. Fuck all the pop shit, get back to rapping. I'm plugged from the internet, no you don't need to tap in. Don't post every time something in your life happens. Save up for the album, way better outcome. Take all the time in the world and then some. Focus on the writing and the bars, fuck the income. Fuck a filling line, shit been done. Now my mind stays feeling more 2014, but I'm way more polished 2022 clean. Tracklist done, yeah, the practice done, but I just might wait until 2021, cause I wanna love every single day with my son. So the fans can wait if they know that it's great if I've taken my time and perfected the rhyme. Cause this ain't that who can relate, it's a movement, it's fate. Now my mind in a state in a place it ain't been in a minute. I saw that DeLorean, then I hopped in it. Boy, this isn't passion, I haven't felt in life forever. Man, fuck it, whatever. I know I feel better, I know that the music is better, cause I'm finally under no pressure.
I wrote a letter to my younger self. I hope you read it when you don't feel well. I hope these
Class of 2021, Bachelor of Business Administration, area time else.
when things around you feel they can't get worse. You won't describe the pain and how it hurts. I hope these helps. I hope this helps.
Thinking back to that helpless and lost version of myself in freshman year, my life has indeed done a full 180 turn, and honestly, damn Daniel, that was one heck of a ride. I guess it all worked out fine, and I'm glad to leave with a bunch of friends that will stay for the rest of my life.
I wrote a letter to my younger self. When you don't feel well, I hope this helps. I hope this helps. When things around you feel they can't get worse, and you won't describe the pain and how it hurts. I hope this helps. I hope this helps.
对，所以 don't worry about it, we'll all get there one day. 对。
I fit to
Yeah, you fit to
okay. We'll all get there someday. Okay.